This sneaky jury duty phone call scam is draining bank accounts using your trust for the police against you.
It was just kind of overwhelming at the personal stuff and the lengths of the things that they would say.
If I hung up, then it would be failure to comply and I would be arrested on the spot.
The individual was afraid and of course went to a local store and transferred $14,000.
Every single one of these victims thought this would never happen to me. But scammers know exactly how to push your buttons. Fear, urgency, and authority. This should be a wake-up call that no one is too smart, too professional, or too careful to be targeted. And imposter scams are officially the #1 type of fraud, according to the FTC, meaning more people are falling for them than any other scam out there. Out of all the scam tactics out there, good old-fashioned phone calls were the most expensive, costing the average person $1,500 per hit. Yeah, just one call can clean you out. So coming up, you'll see how one scammer was so bold, they had the victim hand over $14,000 right at the sheriff's office parking lot. Yes, the scam went down right in front of the building that is supposed to keep you safe. And you'll see how scammers are emailing fake court documents that look terrifyingly real, and why you can't even trust your caller ID anymore, even if it says Sheriff's Department. Oh, before I forget, I put together a free checklist to help you lock down your identity and keep scammers out for good. It's super easy to follow and packed with quick steps with clickable links to secure your accounts, block payday loans, loan fraud, protect tax records, and more. Plus, I even included over 10 agencies where you can report scams just like this. And I created another freebie to help you remove yourself from data broker lists so those shady companies stop selling your personal info. Just click the link below to grab them both for free. So the first victims were from Raleigh, North Carolina. William and April Hubbard helped save lives for a living. But one faint call from the sheriff's office had them terrified for their licenses, their freedom, and their future. And just like that, they were out of $5,000. So it started with a call from someone claiming to be with the Wake County Sheriff's Office. The voice on the line said April had missed grand jury selection and now had 3 warrants out for her arrest. They even dropped the name of a real judge, Judge Dever, and spoofed the sheriff's office phone number to make it seem legit. But here's where it got personal. Both William and April are nurse anesthetists. Their licenses depend on clean background checks, and in the heat of the moment, the fear of losing everything they work for had kicked in. So they went on to send $1,500 via Venmo to the scammer. Then came more calls, more threats, more panic. So by the end, they had sent $5,000. When William called back to confirm their supposed meeting with the judge, the number was disconnected. That's when the sinking feeling hit. They had really been scammed. They immediately filed a police report, reached out to law enforcement and the state attorney's general office, and then shared their story publicly with one simple message: if it can happen to us, it can happen to anybody. The next victim was in Columbia County, Georgia. It was Kevin Cassidy. He's a dad with a child in cancer treatment, doing his best to stay up until a scammer took him for $30,000 he couldn't afford to lose. He got a call from someone claiming to be a lieutenant from the Columbia County Sheriff's Office saying he'd missed federal jury duty and there was a warrant out for his arrest. The officer even emailed him a copy of a fake arrest warrant with his name on it. To make things worse, the call came from an Appling, Georgia number and used the last name of a real sheriff's employee. Then he was told he couldn't hang up the phone because he'd be in non-compliance and arrested immediately. Kevin was already overwhelmed. His child is going through cancer treatment and he's been dealing with his own serious health issues. He's working, providing, and suddenly this nightmare just lands on his plate. So under pressure, he paid the $3,000 in cryptocurrency. When he and his wife finally had a chance to breathe and double check with the real sheriff's office, the truth hit. They'd been scammed. There was no warrant, no missed jury duty, just a cruel scam. Columbia County investigators confirmed it. Scammers were using spoof numbers and impersonating real officers, even ones currently employed. Another victim was from DeKalb County, Georgia. So this one really rocked the entire sheriff's office there. Not just because the scammers were bold, but because they walked away with $14,000. So a middle-aged person received a call from someone claiming to be a deputy, saying they missed jury duty and had to pay up or face immediate arrest. But this scammer wasn't just calling, they were bold. They told the victim to meet them in the actual DeKalb County Sheriff's Office parking lot to hand over money cards. And that's exactly what the victim did. $14,000 gone, paid with prepaid money cards purchased at a local store. And the sheriff, Melody Maddox, later confirmed that the scammers had even used the names of real deputies. They're really targeting the most vulnerable, especially the elderly and immigrants. In fact, the sheriff's own cousin got one of these calls. Thankfully, she called her before sending any money. So by the time law enforcement is notified, it's usually too late. The money's gone, the number is disconnected, and the scammer has disappeared like smoke in the air. And the sheriff in that last story, Maddox, said that we will never, ever call you and ask for money. Not by phone, not by email, not in our parking lot. Ever. And these victims all had one thing in common. They were just doing their best, just trying to follow the law and trying to protect their families, their licenses, their lives. And that's exactly what scammers take advantage of. So here's how the scammers make everyday intelligent people cough up thousands of dollars. They really just weaponize your trust and authority. Most people are conditioned from a young age to obey when law enforcement says something is mandatory, especially when it involves jail, court, or legal obligation like jury duty. By impersonating sheriffs or deputies or court clerks, sometimes even using real names and departments, scammers trigger what's called the authority bias. Your brain automatically thinks this must be legit. I could get in serious trouble. Some victims even reported that the scammer's tone and pacing and vocabulary matched exactly how a real officer or government worker might speak. They really hijack your brain's threat response system. These scams are designed to create a sudden panic. There's a bench warrant out. Officers are en route to you. You need to resolve this now or face arrest. The second you believe you're in legal jeopardy, your brain enters fight or flight mode. That fight or flight response literally shuts down the part of your brain responsible for critical thinking. In that moment, you're not reasoning, you're reacting, and scammers are counting on that. They pull you into fear and isolate you from help. Many victims were told they couldn't hang up the phone or speak to anyone else during the call or they'd be under arrest. That tactic isn't just intimidation, it's deliberate isolation. If you can't call your spouse, your lawyer, or even Google the number, you can't verify anything. The goal is to keep you on the call, locked in a bubble of fear and confusion until the money is sent. And the amounts demanded are often large. I'm talking $3,000, $9,000, $14,000. But when victims hesitate, the scammers like to negotiate. How much can you pay today? Can you at least do $2,000? If you're cooperative, we can reduce the fine. And then the scammers often send PDFs of fake court summons or warrants, online forms to sign paperwork, confirmation codes and badge numbers. They even reference real locations like your local courthouse or detention center, and sometimes even tell you to go there, but still send the money first. Some even spoof the number of your local sheriff's office so your caller ID confirms the scam. And it even works on smart people like professors, nurses, journalists, military veterans. These scams don't work because the targets are gullible. They work because they're human. When someone calls you with credible urgency, threatens your livelihood and sounds official, even the most logical person can fall into compliance mode. Scammers don't need you to believe the whole story. They just need you to panic long enough, enough to send the money. So here's how to never get caught up in this scam in the first place. So you never want to send money to someone who calls out of the blue claiming you're in legal trouble. If the call starts with you missed jury duty and there's a warrant, just hang up. That's not how real law enforcement operates. And you don't want to trust your caller ID. It can be faked. Seriously, a scammer can make their number look like it's coming from your local courthouse or the sheriff's office or even the White House. In one past case that we covered, the caller ID literally said Wake County Sheriff. Spoofing is that easy. And no real court or sheriff's office will ever ask for payment over the phone or demand gift cards and cryptocurrency or Apple Pay. They won't even threaten arrest via phone call or text or email. So if anyone is doing this, it's a scam, period. And you don't want to call back the number that just rang you. That's exactly what the scammers want. And then also you want to warn family, especially your elders. Scammers love to target older adults and immigrants because they're often more trusting or less tech savvy. So listen, if you just send like a warning text to your grandma, that could save them thousands of dollars. So you want to do that first. So let's talk about what to do if you've actually been targeted and you fell for it. First of all, you just want to breathe. If you've already sent money or shared personal info, don't panic. You're not alone. And there are steps you can take right now to fight back. So if you sent money, you want to call your bank or credit card company or payment app like Zelle, Venmo, Apple Pay immediately. They might be able to reverse the charge or flag the transaction. And if you pay with gift cards, you want to contact the issuing company with your receipt, and it's really time critical, so you got to do it fast. Then you want to report the scam. So you want to file a report with the FTC and the FBI with the Internet Crime Complaint Center, or IC3. And IC3 is good, especially if you use crypto or a wire transfer or lost a large amount of money. And then you want to notify your local sheriff's office. So even if you can't recover your money, your report could help someone else avoid becoming the next victim. And remember, getting scammed doesn't mean you're stupid. It means someone tried really hard to take advantage of your trust, your fear, or sense of responsibility. So let's make sure they don't succeed again. But I wish this was all you needed to know to protect yourself from scams. Unfortunately, that's just not true. Scammers are out here working overtime, coming up with new ways to drain people's accounts every single month. That's exactly where I put together a playlist with all the biggest bank scams you need to know about. We're talking sneaky phone scams, shady credit card tricks, and even scams that banks won't warn you about. So don't wait until it's too late. Click on the playlist right here, right now, and stay one step ahead of the scammers. Thank you for watching.